How to TIG weld using the Miller Dynasty 350. My friend Crew is going to start by turning on the gas by opening the valve counterclockwise. Then he's going to flip the power switch up to turn the machine on. He's going to make sure his amps are right. He's running about 145 amps. That clamp right behind Crew's hand is the ground clamp. This is what conducts the electrical current. You can't weld without it. Then he takes his metal and he's going to wire brush it to make sure the metal is clean and ready to be tapped. This is to remove oxide to prevent lack of fusion and other defects it may cause. This is a weld that Crew ran too hot and without brushing it. He was not very happy. Crew is going to be running a butt joint. This just means two pieces of metal tacked together side by side. Then in a second, he's going to pick up his 3/32 aluminum filler rod. The rod helps to cool down the metal while adding more material to achieve penetration without making the weld concave. He then picks up the torch and places his foot down on the pedal. The harder the pedal is pressed down, the more heat there will be. He presses the pedal down for a second just to heat up the metal, then dabs the filler rod, and repeats that step on the other side. This is just to tack the pieces together to make sure that they are secure. As you can see, the foot pedal plays a huge role in TIG welding. Once the two pieces are tacked together, Crew can start his bead. The light is very bright and it's hard to see through the camera, but essentially he will heat the metal up at the beginning and then continue to add filler rod throughout the bead. Here is the original audio so you can hear how loud the machine is. Crew is trying out a pulsing method which consists of pulsing his foot up and down every time he adds rod. This is not the typical way to TIG weld, but it creates the same effect. He prefers to use this method because it gives more defined puddles as well as more penetration. This is my friend Matt showing the typical way to TIG weld. He's just doing it vertically. But it is the same steady foot pressure and rod adding as if it was flat. As Crew comes to the end of his weld, he will decrease the amount of pressure on the foot pedal to reduce the heat. This is because aluminum gets extremely hot near the end, so it doesn't need as much heat to keep the puddle going. Here is his finished product. When Crew is finished with his welding, he will turn off the machine and turn off the gas by turning the valve clockwise. It is very important to make sure the gas is off when it is not being used. As you can see, the tip of the tungsten is balled up, which means Crew dipped his tungsten in the process of his welding. So here he is sharpening it to make sure it is ready for the next use. He also dips it in a cup of water. This is just to cool it down in between sharpening so it doesn't burn his fingers. You may think, why can't I wear gloves while sharpening to avoid being burned? This is because if your glove gets caught in the grinder, you won't have a chance to take it off and your hand will get sucked in. It is also important not to have loose fabric in the range of the grinder. Here's the tungsten all sharpened. And that is how to TIG weld using the Miller Dynasty 350.